If you thought Coronation Street had already put Cassie Plummer through the ringer, brace yourself, because what's coming next on the cobbles is being described by insiders as nothing short of devastating. A woman who fought so hard to be accepted by the people she loves is about to watch every single one of those relationships collapse around her, and by the time the dust settles, she may not have a single person left in Weatherfield willing to stand by her side. So, what exactly has driven Cassie Plummer to this breaking point, and why are Coronation Street fans calling this one of the most heartbreaking exits the show has ever built? If you're new to the story or you've fallen behind on the drama, let's catch you up. Cassie Plummer, played by Claire Sweeney, arrived in Weatherfield back in 2023 as the mother nobody knew Tyrone Dobbs had. For years, Tyrone believed his mom was dead, only to discover that his grandmother Evelyn had kept the truth from him. Cassie's real story was far messier and far darker than anyone could have imagined. She'd lived a life scarred by addiction, poverty, and abuse, and reconnecting with the son she gave up became her one shot at redemption. Over the past couple of years, viewers have watched Cassie stumble, relapse, claw her way back, and slowly, painfully, start to build something that looked like a real life. She found work. She found a place in the Barlow and McDonald households, and most importantly, she found love with Steve McDonald, a relationship that gave her a sense of stability she'd never had growing up. But soap fans know better than anyone that stability on Coronation Street never lasts. Earlier this year, it was confirmed that Claire Sweeney would be leaving the show after landing a dream role in the West End and touring production of Annie, stepping into the part of Miss Hannigan. Producers promised fans an explosive send-off for Cassie, and true to their word, what's unfolding now is turning out to be one of the most emotionally brutal exit storylines Corrie has delivered in years. The bombshell that set all of this in motion has a name, and that name is Ross. Ross, played by Ian Burfield, is revealed to be Tyrone's long-lost biological father, tracked down after Tyrone's daughters Hope and Ruby used a home DNA testing kit for a family tree project, never expecting it would unearth a father Tyrone never knew existed. On the surface, this should be a heartwarming reunion story, a son meeting the father he never had the chance to know. But for Cassie, Ross's arrival in Weatherfield is nothing short of a nightmare, because the two of them share a devastating history that goes back decades. Ross wasn't just a stranger to Cassie. He was a client of hers, back when she was just 15 years old and trapped in a life of exploitation and addiction that she has spent years trying to outrun. Claire Sweeney has spoken candidly about how gut-wrenching the storyline is for her character, describing Ross as dragging Cassie's most sordid, painful past directly back into the present, right at the moment she finally has something to lose. And that's really the heart of what makes this story so gripping. Cassie isn't just facing an awkward reunion. She's watching the son she fought so hard to reconnect with fall under the spell of a man who represents the very worst chapter of her life, a man she desperately does not want anyone in Weatherfield, least of all Tyrone or Steve, to ever find out about. As Ross settles into Weatherfield, gets himself a local job, and starts building a genuine bond with Tyrone, Cassie is forced to watch from the sidelines, smiling through gritted teeth while she quietly unravels. Now here's where the story takes its darkest turn yet, and it's the reason fans are calling this Cassie's most dramatic and self-destructive chapter to date. Desperate to get Ross out of Weatherfield before her secret comes out, Cassie starts scheming. When she learns that Ross is due to take a mandatory drug test for his new job, she sees an opportunity to sabotage him and get him removed from her life for good. In scenes airing soon, Cassie is spotted secretly crushing up some of Tyrone's prescription pills and slipping them into a smoothie Ross is drinking, hoping to torpedo his drug test and send him packing. It's a shockingly reckless move, and in her panic, Cassie doesn't even realize she's dropped the empty pill packet behind her, a mistake that sets off a chain reaction she cannot take back. But the scheme with the smoothie is only half of the unraveling. The other half comes at what should have been a celebration. While friends and family gather to organize a birthday tea for Ross, The tension inside Cassie finally reaches boiling point. As the cake arrives and everyone begins to sing, Cassie can't hold it in any longer, and in front of the guests, she blurts out the truth that Ross paid her for sex when she was just 15 years old. It's a gut punch of a reveal, delivered not in a quiet, controlled confession, but as an explosive outburst that stuns the room into silence. In one moment, Cassie exposes both her abuser and her own most painful trauma, and there's no taking it back. From here, everything Cassie has built starts to crumble at devastating speed. Steve McDonald, the man she loves and the one relationship that gave her real stability, discovers an empty strip of strong painkillers hidden in her cardigan pocket, and it's the final straw. Steve ends their relationship on the spot. Then comes the moment fans are dreading most. When Tyrone learns exactly what his mother has done, from the drugging scheme to the chaos she's caused, he reaches his breaking point too, and in a heartbreaking scene, he throws her out of the house and onto the street. The son she worked so hard to win back, the relationship that gave her entire arc on this show its meaning, ends with him turning his back on her completely. Cassie, in the space of what feels like just a few episodes, goes from finally belonging somewhere to being cast out by literally everyone who matters to her. It's worth remembering just how loaded this storyline is with irony and heartbreak. Claire Sweeney has previously spoken about how much Cassie craved the stability and family life she never had as a child, and how meaningful it was for her character to finally feel accepted after years of being an outsider, even within her own family. Now that acceptance is being ripped away in the cruelest way possible, not because of anything anyone did to her, but because of the desperate, self-sabotaging choices she made trying to protect the fragile life she'd built. It's classic Coronation Street storytelling, tragedy born from good intentions twisted by fear and old trauma, and it's exactly the kind of complex, morally messy exit that soap fans tend to remember for years. Unsurprisingly, this storyline has ignited plenty of discussion among Coronation Street's audience. On social media, viewers have been split between sympathy for Cassie's horrifying backstory with Ross and frustration at watching her make increasingly reckless decisions that hurt the people around her, including innocent bystanders like Tyrone, whose own medication she used as a weapon. Soap commentary outlets and fan forums have been dissecting every twist of the Ross storyline, with many praising the writing team for handling the historical abuse angle with real weight rather than using it as a throwaway shock twist. Others have pointed out how well Claire Sweeney has played Cassie's spiral, noting that even as her character does deeply questionable things, the performance keeps her sympathetic rather than simply villainous. There's also been a wave of appreciation for how the show is using this arc to explore how trauma can resurface unpredictably, forcing a person who has worked so hard to change to revert to old, desperate patterns when they feel cornered. So, what does all of this mean for the future, both for Cassie and for the show more broadly? We already know Claire Sweeney is exiting Coronation Street this summer after 3 years in the role, following her decision to take on the iconic part of Miss Hannigan in the touring production of Annie. Sweeney has been open about how much she's enjoyed playing Cassie and has called this exit storyline exactly the kind of dramatic send-off she'd hoped for, rather than a quiet fade into the background. Given everything unfolding now, with Steve gone, Tyrone turning her away, and her darkest secret exposed to the entire street, it seems increasingly likely that Cassie's final weeks on our screens will be about a woman utterly isolated, forced to reckon with the consequences of a life built on survival instincts that no longer serve her. There's plenty of speculation swirling around exactly how our story will end. Some fans believe Cassie could be given one last chance at redemption before she leaves, perhaps a moment of reconciliation with Tyrone once he learns the full truth about Ross rather than just the surface-level scandal. Others suspect the show may go in a darker direction entirely, with Cassie's spiral pushing her toward another relapse or a genuinely dangerous confrontation with Ross before she departs Weatherfield for good. Whether the door is left open for a future return is anyone's guess at this stage, but given how invested viewers have become in Cassie's redemption arc, Don't be surprised if producers leave a thread dangling rather than closing the book completely. What we do know for certain is that Coronation Street is building toward one of its most talked about exits in recent memory. Cassie Plummer arrived in Weatherfield as a woman desperate to be believed, desperate to be loved, and desperate to prove she deserved a second chance. Now, just months from her departure, she finds herself abandoned by her partner, rejected by her son, and exposed in front of the entire street, all while the man responsible for her deepest trauma walks free and welcomed into the very family she fought so hard to join. It's messy, it's heartbreaking, and it's exactly the kind of soap storytelling that keeps viewers glued to their screens night after night. As Cassie's final chapter on Coronation Street continues to unfold, one thing is clear: this is not going to be a quiet goodbye. Whether she leaves Weatherfield in disgrace, in danger, or with one final act of vindication against Ross, fans are bracing themselves for an emotional roller coaster in the weeks ahead. So keep your eyes on the cobbles, because this story is far from over. That's everything we know so far about Cassie Plummer's dramatic downfall and impending exit from Coronation Street. What do you think? Does Cassie deserve sympathy after everything she's been through? Or has she gone too far this time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss another Coronation Street update. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.